¿Qué la que hay, mi amigos? Rocky here from SpeakSpanishFaster.com y en el video de hoy vamos a hablar de un problema que muchos estudiantes tienen o parece que muchos tienen, me escriben y me preguntan, Rocky, yo puedo entender español, pero no lo puedo hablar. ¿Qué debo hacer? So if you are in this situation where you can understand Spanish, but you just can't speak it, then pay attention to this video because I'll be giving you some tips and ideas that might be able to help you out. When it comes to being able to actually speak a language, there are a few things that you need to focus on and a few things you need to do. And again, that's what I'm going to be discussing in this video. Now, many people, they make the mistake of trying to speak Spanish on day one. But if we think about how a child learns to speak a language, they don't start speaking on day one, do they? They don't start studying grammar rules and conjugations on day one either, do they? In fact, we would say, oh my God, why are you teaching your toddler conjugations when they can't even speak? But we don't take the same approach when we learn a language. Think about how long it takes a child before they are able to put words and phrases together. Think about how much listening input they consume. Speaking shouldn't be rushed, and you should begin to speak only when you feel comfortable. Now, the first thing you want to do is truly be patient, all right? Wait to start speaking until you are ready. There is absolutely no rush. Now, I know we all want to be fluent in a new language overnight, but that just doesn't happen. But with that being said, if you can understand Spanish very well, then chances are you are ready to start speaking. Now it's all about what are the best ways to develop that speaking ability. All right, so when you decide that you are ready, and you will know, the next important thing to do is to put yourself in situations that will allow you the best results. So let me explain. When it comes to speaking well in Spanish, we have this thing called an output filter. All right, the output filter determines how much and how well we speak. A high output filter means that it's going to be difficult to speak and sound natural. A low output filter means that it's going to be easier to speak. So what you want to do is you want to put yourself in situations that lower your output filter. In other words, you want to put yourself in situations where you feel comfortable and confident in your Spanish. I want you to really think about the times that you have tried to speak Spanish. Have some occasions and attempts been better than others? That's most likely because you were more comfortable in one situation than another. For example, talking Spanish with friends casually during a night out versus giving a presentation in Spanish in front of an entire classroom. You could speak fine with someone today, and then tomorrow you could struggle. That doesn't mean that you got worse in Spanish. There's no way to get worse unless you just stop working on it. But what happened was you were in a situation that made it difficult for you, a situation that increased your output filter. That could be because you felt like you were going to be judged, or you felt like you were going to be embarrassed, and when that happens, your output filter goes up. That's why when people drink alcohol, they usually speak a second language better. I have a friend named Jamie, and he always says, man, if you give me some alcohol, I will sound like a native Spanish speaker. Why is this? Most likely because the alcohol lowers his insecurities. They lower his output filter, right? He no longer has that speaking block. And it is true, when he gets a little tipsy, his Spanish is far better than when he isn't tipsy. Really, it's just because he lets his guard down. It's kind of the same thing that happens with me if I'm giving a presentation, or even for these videos, because I'm switching back and forth between English and Spanish. Sometimes my English picks up a Spanish accent, sometimes my Spanish picks up an English accent, not to mention when I'm trying to talk perfect, porque yo quiero hablar perfecto, neutro, a veces tengo problemas porque no estoy acostumbrado de hablar así, porque cuando estoy con mi familia hablo así. Por eso tú puedes ver que cuando hablo normal, de una manera que me siento cómodo, sale más fluido. Pero cuando tengo que presentarme en una manera más formal, es un poco diferente. So you want to put yourself in positions where your guard will always be down. And obviously, as seen in the example with Jamie, alcohol lowers that guard. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and get drunk, but find people that you are comfortable speaking with and speak with them. Don't worry so much about correcting yourself or having them correct your every word. Tell them to just let you speak, and you're going to figure it out. Trust me. Now, what happens if you don't have anyone to talk to? Well, first off, there are roughly 450 million people in the world that speak Spanish. So mostly, if you don't have anyone to talk to in Spanish, it's usually just an excuse. Get out there, go meet some people that speak Spanish. But of course, for some people, it happens. They just don't have anyone to talk to in Spanish. What I recommend in these situations is that you use websites similar to italki. But look, you have to use websites like italki in the right way. Many students don't, and it's why they fail. Now, there are two main mistakes students make when taking classes with teachers on websites like italki. Number one, they start too early in their journey when they aren't even ready to speak. This leads to bad habits. This leads to lack of confidence. And number two, they approach italki as if it's traditional learning. This problem is even bigger than the first problem. You see, many of the people that are language teachers on italki, they're also language teachers in real life. So they are accustomed to traditional teaching methods. Not all of them, but many of them. That means that if you don't have a plan, and beginner students usually don't have a plan, if you don't have a plan, you're going to end up following their plan, which usually ends up being a daily grammar lesson as if you were in school. This is not what you want. You don't sign up on these websites to learn Spanish, but rather to acquire it through authentic conversation. That's why it's best if you only use websites like these for natural conversation. To be honest, if you have friends that will speak with you in your target language, then I recommend you just do that. But there are many students that come to me and they say, Rocky, I have nobody to talk to in Spanish. That's when I recommend websites like italki. They are great for that because they open you up to a world of your target language speakers, allowing you the ability to speak in your target language every single day if you want. But you must use these platforms specifically for speaking and having conversations. And if you are not at the level where you can speak anything yet, it's okay. Don't rush it. Remember, don't attend sessions with teachers online to learn Spanish traditionally. If you keep making common grammar mistakes and they want to help you, then that's great. But don't allow the sessions to turn into traditional school learning classes. All right. At the end of the day, websites like italki are tools, just like 7-Day Spanish, just like other language apps. They can all be great if you use them the right way. But any tool can and will fail you if you don't use it the right way. Imagine trying to use a screwdriver to hammer a nail. Obviously, it's not going to work as well as a hammer. Vice versa, imagine trying to use a hammer to screw in a nail. It won't work well, will it? Tools are best when you use them the right way, but at the end of the day, they are just pieces of your overall strategy. The hammer and the nails are important tools to build a house, but guess what? You also need a plan to build that house. You need an overall strategy. Language learning tools work the same exact way. You need a plan to make sure you are using them the right way. Now, the last thing I'll share with you today that can really help you start speaking is something that I do every single day with my language coach. That is to try to summarize out loud the content that I've just consumed. All right. This is even more powerful when you do it the day after you consume the content because it makes you recall the new vocabulary that you consumed the day prior. So let's say you read a chapter of a book today in your target language. Now, tomorrow, I want you to summarize what the chapter was about. Of course, you will be speaking out loud the summary, all right? You're not just going to write it down. Now, it is okay if you take notes and stuff like that, and it's even good to prepare before you do it, but don't just read a script, all right? Not only is summarizing the content out loud going to help your speaking, but it's also going to help your vocabulary retention because it's going to force you to use ideas and vocabulary from the content you listen to or read the previous day. Now, this is a very effective method, but again, you want to set yourself up for success here. You don't want to do this exercise with content that is too difficult. The thing is, many people think that when the work is too easy, it's not useful, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It's better to work with content that you understand than to work with content that you can't understand. Not being able to understand anything that you're reading or listening to doesn't mean you're pushing yourself. It really just means that you're wasting your time. Focus on consuming content that you can understand 80 to 90% of. This will keep your output filter low and your confidence high when it's time to recite your summary. Another cool thing you can do is turn on the recorder on your phone and record your voice. All right. Now, you don't have to share this recording with anybody else, although it is good to share it with a teacher or a native speaker so that they can give you some constructive criticism if you don't mind. But at the least, you can critique your own Spanish. Does it sound like a native Spanish? If not, why not? What words are you saying improperly? Pay attention to where your pronunciation pronunciation or your intonation wasn't as good, and focus on improving those aspects. It's just like in basketball. One of the best ways to fix your jump shot is to film yourself shooting and then make adjustments based on what you see. Like a coach used to tell me, the footage doesn't lie, the film doesn't lie. It's the same thing when you record your voice. The audio doesn't lie. Use it to improve every single day. If you're looking to learn Spanish faster, I have a complete program called the 7-Day Spanish System that will help you comprehend Spanish easily and speak Spanish more comfortably so that you can converse with natives. You can get it at speakspanishfaster.com. I'll put the link in the comments for you if you want to check that out. If you found this video helpful and you need help with other topics in Spanish, please leave a comment below and let me know. In the meantime, if you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video when we put one out. Until next time, nos vemos.